welcome back to ScoreKeeping by Kenosha Opera Festival. I know what you're thinking. The Kenosha Opera Festival office sure does look sandy. Well, I thought I would take you along with me today to enjoy this episode of ScoreKeeping from a beautiful, relaxing beach. Location sure is everything. Like I said, location is everything, and I guess some locations are just better for filming web series than others. Location affects a lot for the audience. It can transport us to magical, faraway places, help us recall memories from bygone eras, and suck us into a story so deeply we forget that we're even sitting in a theater. Location can make or break a production, and by that, I mean the set. Everything you see when the curtain goes up, buildings, backdrops, projections, walls, floors, furniture, many take for granted, but in reality, an incredible amount of time and thought has gone into designing a set that grounds an audience in the location and pulls us into the story from first glance. While the set of a production is absolutely central to modern audiences' perception and comprehension of the show, sets haven't always been such central elements to performances. Let's hop in a time machine and take a trip to ancient Greek theater, typically performed outdoors in little more than open areas in city centers or next to hillsides. Here, you can see the basic structure of a Greek theater. The theatron, or viewing space, was the audience seating. The orchestra, which translates to dancing space, was the circular central area where the chorus would dance, sing, and interact with the actors who were on the stage near the skina. In the center of the circle was often an altar. The skina, which means tent, is the building behind the stage. This was often decorated as a palace or temple and would have at least one set of doors. And that was it. Simple, yet effective for actors and chorus to tell the stories of the gods and heroes. As you may already know, modern theater owes much to ancient Greek theater. Even the word itself, borrowed from the term for the audience seating, theatron. But what developed in later cultures and generations led to the true rise of set design. Scenery, as we know it today, is a product of the Italian Renaissance. Several artists from the 15th through 17th centuries can be thanked for their contributions to theatrical scenery, particularly in relation to a greater understanding of perspective and architecture. Around 1415, Filippo Brunelleschi, a goldsmith, sculptor, and architect, discovered the secret of linear perspective, the ability to create the illusion of depth and space on a flat surface. Not that this was the first time in human history that this was discovered, mind you, but in an interesting twist of fate, this technology had been lost to mankind for centuries before it was rediscovered by Brunelleschi in the 15th century. Thank goodness for that. In 1545, Sebastiano Serlio published the first work detailing the design and construction of a court theater. Serlio's playhouse was constructed in the court palace, and the angled scenery was designed to provide the royal chair with a perfect view. The front half of the stage floor was level, while the back half sloped up towards the back wall, increasing the illusion of depth. It was in this sloped section that the scenery was placed. During the Renaissance, stage effects were extremely popular. In the 17th century, Nicola Sabatini was all the rage. Some of Sabatini's most famous and influential designs include a light dimming machine and a flying machine. His brilliant design would allow a performer to be raised up into or lowered from the heavens. Really, just the bulk of the machinery itself, cleverly disguised as clouds. In 1638, Nicola Sabatini published his Manual for Constructing Theatrical Scenes and Machines. This was the first practical stagecraft manual, and Sabatini's work fostered the education of future designers for generations to come. But enough about textbooks. Let's get back to the matter at hand, the sets themselves. Ludovico Bernacini, who worked in the court of Holy Roman Emperor Leopold I in the 17th century, is responsible for some of the most legendary productions of the Baroque stage. Here you can see his design for Il Pomodoro, which he titled The Mouth of Hell. Although it may be hard for us to imagine in an era when we often take awe-dropping spectacle for granted, this was one of the most immersive and terrifying sets audiences had ever experienced at the time. It turns out this gift ran in the family. Ottavio Bernacini, Ludovico's father, taught his son the art of theater architecture, stage machinery, and set design from a young age. Bernacini Sr. led several renowned theater houses in Venice, and Bernacini Jr. witnessed the theater world from inside his father's workshop, observing the collaboration of impresari, engineers, composers, musicians, and actors. Working together at the Imperial Court Theater, the Bernacini family introduced their own system of convertible stage sets made of canvas flats, which had been tried and tested in Italy, and they perfected it further. The fact that this family was solely responsible for the set design of the Imperial Court was no small matter. In Vienna, plays, concerts, and ballets were performed almost daily. That would have been a massive job. The ability to manipulate scenery, including moving pieces on and off stage, wasn't made possible until the introduction of the proscenium arch in the late 16th century. English architect Inigo Jones is attributed with having introduced the very first of them. This is the same architect who helped design the Queen's Chapel in St. James Palace, the banqueting house in the Palace of Whitehall, and Covent Garden Square. This guy was the real deal. Architectural design wasn't his only passion, though. He always made time to argue with writer and longtime collaborator Ben Jonson about whether stage design or literature was more important in theater. For the record, Ben Jonson is a writer who wrote not one, but 2 poems as odes to himself. But that sounds like a topic for a future Top Burns episode. The proscenium style, still heavily utilized in modern theater, allowed the wings of the theater to be hidden from the audience, allowing more flexibility for both set pieces and actors to enter and exit the staging area unnoticed. At the time, though, the main purpose of the arch was to provide atmosphere and a sense of spectacle, and the curtain wasn't regularly used to hide scene changes. That is, until Squire and Marie Bancroft, husband and wife power couple, worked at the Haymarket Theatre in London in 1880. They further enclosed the lower side of the stage, creating a picture frame effect, like an imaginary fourth wall, which gave the audience the feeling of spying on the actors who behaved as if they were unobserved. It was also in this era that the advent of electricity further enhanced theatrical design and perspective through controlled lighting and the ability to make the part of the auditorium where the audience sat darker to make it feel like they weren't in a theater. It was actually at the Haymarket Theatre that W.S. Gilbert premiered 7 of his plays before he famously joined forces with Arthur Sullivan. As technology has advanced in the last century, so have the opportunities for increasingly elaborate and realistic sets. With advancements in lighting, construction materials, and computers, there's almost nothing that can't be done on a stage, if the vision and dollar amount are just right. In fact, you might have seen a production in the last several years utilizing projected effects. Festival is eager to jump into this growing trend. We don't exactly have Kenosha Opera's budget, but we've got some fun things planned, and you can look forward to enjoying our projected set elements this summer as part of our main stage production of The Barber of Seville. Wow, I've only just scratched the surface of all the amazing developments and advancements in set design across history. Do you have a famous design that you'd like us to dig into more deeply? Or did I just skip somebody from history entirely that you wish we could address? Let us know in the comments and we can do additional scorekeeping episodes on this amazing backdrop to opulent art. Thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting Kenosha Opera Festival by liking this video, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and of course, sharing this video with your friends. We put out new episodes of scorekeeping and fun facts every month, so be sure to check back regularly for updated content. Remember, hit the bell and you won't miss a thing. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you have an awesome and operatic day.